So ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for architect Ar Khozema Chitalwala.
How many of you are architects and how many of you are interior designers? Students from architecture and students from interior designing? Lovely, lovely. So we have a great mixed crowd. And which college you belong to, or is there a particular college? Or? Yeah, so can you, let's have an interactive session, because I'm not here to give you a lecture. I'm going to give you my lifetime experience. I'm going to share it in whatever best time I can. So, good morning, and let's start. Begin. It's here. So, I think so, when you join any of these creative course, have you ever thought what does it bring to, what training are you going to? Fundamentally, principally, has anybody ever thought about what are you getting trained for? If you ask me honestly, we are getting trained to become a dreamer. You need to learn how to dream with your eyes open, experience yourself. For example, if you had to create this space which is here, you can't just draw anything and then experience it, but you keep on experiencing those spaces that makes you like a dreamer. So you visualize, you see a movie going across in front of your eyes with your eyes wide open, and you are here dreaming it. You are here dreaming it because that's an experience, virtual experience which you are creating in your mind of those things which you are going to create. So being a dreamer, you visualize, and how does your design give you a very important aspect is how, when you visualize it, how does your design impact those experiences? Now, I think so. I will give you a very short and very actual example which I think about it. How many of you have been to church and temples? Most of you guys. Wonderful. When you look from a very different perspective as an architect, what happens is, when you go there inside, you feel what kind of feelings you get when you enter into that religious architecture. Religious architecture, when you enter into that, what kind of feeling you get? Blessed. What else? Good about it. Okay. What does the impression the architecture creates on you? Anybody? This is what design is going to impact, and how is design being perceived. It is not perceived today, but it is a subconscious mind of ours is absorbing. I am giving you a very simple example of this. God see greater. God is larger than the life size of a human being. Now, how do you handle that? How do you handle that? This is one of the famous church in Milan. You look at the size of the church, size of a door. If you look at the size of the door is at least 5 to 6 times of the human height. When you enter a church, you enter into the main atrium area in a larger door. So when you enter into the larger door, your human scale is this. How does architecture affect? So you feel minusculated. A human being is very small, integral part of the universe, which is large. When you go to the church, most of the time you will find that on an altar you will find the Christ up there or Mother Mary there, whichever religion you follow, which again says that a human is small and you have to look up for him. These are the experiences of space which are created in order to give you that experience that God to see greater. Now let's come to the next example which is there very. When you go to a temple, what happens? Two ways of creating that similar experience. Most of the temple doors are much more smaller, so you have to bend and when you go into Garba. When you go to the actual sanctum of the where the God is being placed and his worship is being done, you have to bow down to him. Again, it is creating by virtue of design. We are saying human being, you got to lose your ego, you got to lose everything and come and pray to me. Two different design aspects in two different kind of architecture, but with the similar principle, creating the same feeling. This is what power we have in our design. And this is the experience. If you can't dream about it, probably you will never ever able to create something which is different. I will take you to two examples which is very, very important for us. So what happens when you design your own projects? You need to realize a lot of things, especially when you are doing architecture, because this is an architecture project example. You need to understand what are the values of that particular architecture. What is that you want to translate your thought process into your across to the and create an experience for the people or the end user. So we at Designers Group, since we do hospitality, I have two hotel projects which I'm going to share with you. One is architecture and another one is an interior. But how that experience changes by virtue of using those nuances, those narratives which we want to incorporate in our design. So when we say that this aspect, if you realize, there is a resort which we are doing in Sasan. It has got one of the largest collection of Asiatic lions in Gir. And when you look at that, the first thing which came to our mind was Leo constellation, because that is something, and the site is beautiful just next to the lake. So first and foremost, being sustainable and kind of thing, what we created was a lot of deforestation had happened. It is just outside the forest boundaries, but a lot of agriculture activities were happening. There is a small hill on it. And having said so, what we tried to do is, first decision was to reforest it, to make people feel and experience. Now, these are the thought processes when it comes to creating design and how the experiences could be created. Reforestation was the first task which we took. We created a greenhouse to create, and last 2.5 years we have got around 25,000 trees in that for that 25 acre of land, which are there in native plantations. Nothing which is very, we don't want to bring in flowers from Thailand and somewhere from other part of Asia. But what we brought in was all native plantations and trees, so that the flora and fauna attracts the local birds, local animal foliage and kind of things. Secondly, when we thought about this, these are principles in design which we thought. We thought people will come here for lion experience. So for that lion experience, we felt that it was very important that we ensure that the wildlife in that wilderness which we are recreating should not be disturbed at all. So the lighting is being thought through a different level. There is no direct lighting. There are trees which are not getting uplighted because a lot of birds will get disturbed because of that. So there is a lot of indirect soft lighting which we are looking at it. But at the same time, when we started planning, we looked at Leo constellation because we wanted to represent the lion over there. And we wanted to recreate a very contemporary village of there is a local tribe which by virtue of that local tribe, the lions are alive today in that deep forest. And they track the lion and lionesses in such a beautiful way that they would see it passing through it and the lion would not harm them. They know that this is the name of the lion or lioness and she is heading which side. So that recreation of a contemporary village was created. The lake which was there, which you see here. Okay. So this is a lake which is got over here. This lake which is here has got around more than 1,000 odd crocodiles in it. So we see beautiful water, but we can't get into the water. So what we created was to continue that experience of water, we brought in the water in our side also, because there is a lot of abundance of water. We created on a hilltop. In 25 acres we just created 36 villas. It's a hotel which is very, very premium, very luxurious, very boutique-ish. And we created one large lagoon over here, lagoon pool. So everybody can step down, it's on a hilltop. So the experience of water when you come into the villa and when you look outside also, it is seamless. So you can step into the water everywhere and you can see the water as well over there. So these were the villas which were created over here. And these villas which were created here on the hilltop has got a wonderful view of the lake. But these villas over here have got a beautiful view of the of Kandlala hills, which is beautiful. And just for your information, that particular hill has got the largest Asiatic lions in the world. So when we look at this, there is no car traffic which is allowed in this. It's only very silent electric buggy movements which are going to be allowed in this. So no noise pollution, no light pollutions, no sound pollution would be allowed. We have not got any larger banquets. I think so Gujarat, if you look at it, it has become like wedding would be a great asset for it, but we didn't want to disturb the wilderness and disturb the life in the jungle. So we cut it down and we said that we will not have no sound even, because marriages bring in a lot of sound and a lot of celebration, a lot of music as well. So this is the overall view of that. So everywhere you will feel that there is so everywhere when you get down, you create. We went to the forest and we realized that in monsoon there are terrains which have been created where water keeps on stepping down, and that inspiration we brought into our design to recreate that wilderness experience which was there. So you see the water is seamlessly, when you are there in the water, you see the lake water, but since you can't get it, you try and do, it's an experience which is being created, which is seamless of water when you are in the water in the resort. So from various angles, when you look into it, there are various people who can come. It's like a community gathered in the water. This is a large lagoon pool which we created in order to get this exciting environment all around. And just to create an entry experience, we created a very modern kind of a entry experience by using something which is very parametric and parabolic, gate kind of a thing. So when you get into it, you don't see anything, but all of a sudden when you enter through that den, you realize that this is a large experience which this is the resort starts looking when you come out from this particular den. Why is that so? It jumped a couple of times. So, a lot of other activities, peaceful, where we can have a lot of meditation areas, cabanas which are created, outlets which are in wilderness, you can get into it. So here we are working with forest officer in order to understand how the movement of the lion is going to happen. We are working with guys who the villagers who are observing lion movements and trying to create niches and places where they come to drink water on the lake, so that you can experience the actual live lion sitting when you are there, even at some location in the resort. So this is another interior experience now. This is a beautiful project which is there in Haridwar. Now, this is interior. Writing, what helps us to create when you do Leo, when you think about these processes and all those kind of things, you can create a uniqueness to each of your projects. And that creates an experience. So it could be different from what experience I am trying to create by virtue of connecting the water with water priorly. That creates a different experience altogether from the resort which would be there next door. Similarly, for this particular interior also, what we felt was that we use Purushartha as a base, fundamentally base as for this. This is a resort which is in Haridwar on the bank of Ganga. The moment you are there, first thing which comes to you is Ganga Snan, when you are there at Gangaji and Haridwar. So, what is this Snan significant of? It is signifying moksha. Moksha of your sins during your life and moksha after the life. अस्थियां जब विसर्जित करते हैं तो it's moksha after the life. So people want to be at Ganga during the life and after the life. So and moksha is a part of a great Hindu life philosophy of Purushartha, where we come to this earth where you get introduced to dharma. Dharma is fundamentally, you don't have a religion in your mother's womb. You start getting the religion, you get pronounced. You are a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or Isai, whatever may be, it will be pronounced once you get into this world. And moment after that, when you learn, when you are a child, you learn the values from your teacher, from your parents, from your friends. Everywhere you get meaning of the life, that is known as artha. And then when you have learned all these things, you perform karma according to it. So karma is where you work, you enjoy. You work, you enjoy the life. And finally when you are there, you lead to a moksha. And that is something which fitted the philosophy of this particular architecture. It was an old dilapidated haveli which we reconstructed and created this. So the entrance foyer over here was dharma. There was a courtyard beyond that which is like artha, where you come, you see the open sky, you learn from a lot of things from this world, and then you go to the reception lobby, the lounges, the F&B restaurant, all the dining and other things, where you enjoy the life of your karma. That is a karma. And there was a grand staircase which led to Gangas, because from this particular property you can do Ganga Snan over there, you can do Ganga Aarti over there, everything is done over there. So this was the concept which we created for architecture. We wrote the story for that architecture, but at the same time when it came to interiors, we felt that Shiv has been a very integral part of Haridwar. Although there is a lot of Vishnu worship over there, but Shiv. And one thing which we always have to remember is that when you are in public space, you don't bring religion in a very big way, in a very obvious way in your designs. So abstract, by virtue of abstract, what we brought in, we symbolize Shiv. So if you look at the doors here, the doors were basically, they were recreated for this old Haveli, and these were painted, or I would say polished, as Neelkant color. So the representation of Shiv came through that Neelkant color which was there, and you will also see one beautiful Nandi which is being placed here. So this Nandi was put in a courtyard as a sculpture, again representing facing Ganga, so that this was a representation of Shiv, another symbolization of Shiv which is present, omnipresent over there. Now why Shiv is there? Because Haridwar is also known as gateway to Char Dham. People who go to Char Dham, Badri, Kedarnath, Yamunotri and Gangotri, they pass through Haridwar. And when they always come back for a Ganga Snan at Haridwar. So having said that, this importance of Shiv was brought into design, and that created an identity for this particular project. So this is the lounge area which is there, and you see that beyond this railing is the Ganga. This is touching it's touching the water, Ganga river, and this is the architecture which is there. Now here also, so it was depicted, the Shiv has been depicted in a very abstract manner. So if you look at the complete backdrop over here, this is made out of Rudraksh. Rudraksh is something where Shiv connects, and we created a graphical clouds out of those Rudraksh, and then we said that we put a Damru there, signifying that Shiv is somewhere there up in the Himalayas in the sky. So there are various ways of representing, and this gives a very important nuances and important way to create a project, its own identity. So every property can be created, can create its own identity if you write a great story on that particular project. This is older dining. Now if you look at the color palette is basically, if you look at it, they are all Gulal colors, traditional and contemporary Gulal colors. So it makes huge difference when we write a story and keep a note for the guest. The guest realizes that yes, this is what it is all about. And you see something there on the wall at the backdrop. What we realize is that in Haridwar there is so much of during monsoon, since it is open to a lot of things are open, there is a lot of condensation, there is a lot of moisture, there is a lot of so we couldn't use any other thing but hard finishes like stone. And we found out that this is the only F&B outlet, all-day dining restaurant over here in this small Haveli of 34 keys. There was too much of noise which was echoing. So what we use is, everybody must have seen it. We have holy book stand, whether it is Quran, Gita or whatever maybe. There are those stands we took up over here and we placed them in a very different way to create a complete composite as an art. And this has got perforation. We could control the acoustics of that particular area by placing this, and it signified again it being a very religious location. So these are the common elements which we can use, and we can do a great work on it. Again, we created lights out of, if you see these lights, the lights are on the shivling, there are kalash which is being placed, and we use this to create the light fixtures. This is the staircase which leads to Ganga. So if you look at it, the way the door, the connectivity, so it's a straight line which leads to every aspect of Purushartha. So I think so. They have given me a very limited time. I can talk for hours, but they have just given me 20 minutes. I will leave some time for you to ask questions also. But I want to, you all being very, all are going to someday or other step into the professional practice. And I'm glad that you took some time to learn few things, because I was, just today morning I received one video from Zakir Hussain, somebody shared with me, and he was speaking about teacher. So one thing which we all have to learn is that we have to die learning. Don't stop learning. We have to die learning. Number one. Number two, a teacher can never teach you if you don't inspire him. If you inspire him, he will give you all he can. And this is something wonderful which Zakir Hussain spoke, and I was very thrilled, and I thought, let me share with you as a student. All teachers are probably, they are like a flow of river. Pick up whatever you can. For me, you are my teacher. Somebody who comes, a fresher comes in my office, and probably he can teach me something which I have never learned in my life. So you need to be very open-minded in order to learn. And if you keep on learning, you will create great experiences by virtue of your design. Thank you very much.